Hello, my name is Davis, and through this nugget video I'd like to show you how to configure VirtualBox, PHP-VirtualBox and Vagrant on a Ubuntu client from a Ansible server, right? So before we get started, I'd like to explain my environment. So over here I've spawned two VMs using Vagrant, and one of them, the one with .10 IP, would be my Ansible server, and the .9 IP is my Ansible client, right? And if you see, I have put the key for the client in this folder. You can see that is this the client node 0's key, and it is on the client that I will configure PHP-VirtualBox and Vagrant and VirtualBox. So, and also how do I specify the client? Using the inventory file. So if you see the inventory file, it has essentially the .9 IP, the key, and the user is going to be Vagrant. Okay, so let's get started. Now first of all, before we get started, I just want to take a minute to explain what Vagrant and Ansible are. First of all, Vagrant is kind of like a wrapper tool which helps manage, it makes managing VMs simpler. It does not provision VMs. That is essentially, it does not bring up a VM, and that is done using a virtual provider tool such as VirtualBox. So what so Vagrant is a wrapper around, in our case, VirtualBox, and it will provision VirtualBox VMs. So Vagrant has like three main things. It has something called the box, which is the VM image, and it has a Vagrant file, which is the config in order to required to bring up the box image. And yeah, and so that is a bit about Vagrant. And now what is Ansible? Ansible is, so once you bring up the VM, you would need to provision certain services or deploy certain applications on that VM, on this client VM, in our case PHP-VirtualBox. So how are we doing that? So that is what Ansible does. It so this is going to be an Ansible control server. It is going to SSH onto the client node and execute a set of actions called tasks. Okay, and these tasks are, when you combine a lot of tasks, a task is basically in order to achieve a particular end state, right? It is to achieve a particular end functionality, reach a particular state. That is what a task is. And in a task, you use various kind of modules. Like example, this is the YAML. So first of all, a plea is written in YAML, which is a kind of manner of writing, like JSON and XML. You have YAML. So here I'm using the, so first of all, these are the tasks. There's so many tasks, as you can see. This, you can assign a name for each task so that you can easily identify and figure out what you're doing there. And here I'm using, under the task, I'll use a module which provides a particular function. For example, the app module helps to well, it helps to do apt-get, download packages as well as install packages. And for example, in this case, I'm going to create a loop. Here you can see name item. This item refers to these four items, which is basically build essential and so. And it is going to download the latest state, meaning the latest image, the latest image of these packages. And it is, before it does so, it is going to do an apt-get update so that you have the updated source list. So that is one particular example, which is where I'm using the app module. Now as we progress, I will explain the remainder as we execute the playbook on the control Ubuntu server, which will configure the client, which is over here. Alright, so let's get started. So just so you know, let me just see, I have nothing, so I will configure a YAML file, which will be my configuring PHP-VirtualBox, all the dependencies, all of that. So I pasted this in, I accepted it, and yeah, so that is now okay. So before we get started, there's this guide over here which says how to accomplish this process. So to do this, what I did is I essentially made a list of all the commands I need, okay, and then I just googled how to do it. That is pretty much it. For example, if I had to do apt-get upgrade, I just do something along these lines. I ran in Ansible, and it'll give me the app module, which I see the first hit is the app module, and it's very well documented, so it's quite easy to follow, right? Okay, so now let me just, so before, and also the service is going to be running on 192.168 on, so I've exchanged the var. I've placed the PHP-VirtualBox on this particular image. As you can see, it's not there. I think it's from the cache. So let me open an incognito window to show you that the service is not running. So yes, it is not running because, well, there is no service on the client as of now, because, and also there's no Vagrant. As you can see, there is no command called Vagrant. So let me just execute the playbook now. So it's quite straightforward. You just do Ansible-playbook. You specify by default it'll refer the etc. If you don't specify the inventory file, it'll refer the etc Ansible host file. But yeah, we don't want that, so we'll specify it here. And the playbook name, right? So that is in our case vb.yml, right? And yeah, that's about it. And so this is first of all, Ansible is agentless, meaning I do not need to install an Ansible or any software on the client. Also, it is based on SSH. As you can see, I am using the keys specified by the Vagrant private key. So I just hit yes, and we see that one task get executed. Update the current list of packages, right? That is the first task. So let's see what happens. So it's going to install, and it's essentially just following this guide which is specified here. So I'm going to do a sudo apt-get update, and yeah, I do not know why it's taking a bit, because I suppose there are many packages. So let me, 1 second. Yeah, so that took a second. So it kind of updated the list of packages and build essential, DKMS, and so then next is it's going to reboot the server. So what I did, I have reached this stage where I installed all these. Now I'm doing sudo reboot. So it is now it's going to wait for the server to come back online. So let's just look at this task. Wait for the server to come back online. So it waits for whatever is in the inventory host name, which is basically the IP I had mentioned in the inventory file, and it'll wait till it's started. So the Ansible playbook is now on a pause phase. So let me just pause the video for it to complete, because I suppose it'll take a minute or so. Yeah. Alright, so the server has the client node has come back up, so you can see it's adding the VirtualBox. So okay, before also on a note, as a task gets executed and the state changes, you'll see these change of states. But if nothing has changed, well, it's going to show just an OK, right? So here it came up, the state has started, so it's OK. And example here, add Oracle repo to source list. Well, let's go there. So here it says it's just going to add this particular block onto this file, which is a source list. Here, if once it is downloaded, the key is downloaded in this module. I'm using the app key, and if the state is present, in the sense that if it was already present, this task would be bypassed and it will just show an OK. But if it wasn't present, it will get downloaded. So this is, well, a way how Ansible achieves idempotent idempotency, and what that means is basically if you execute an operation and if it's already executed, well, there's no need to execute it once more, so don't redo what you already did. So now I am in the task update software sources and install VirtualBox 5.0. So let's just see where in the guide that is. Install software sources. Okay, so I guess I'll just wait for some time. I suppose this will also take a bit. I'll pause the video for a second. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, so yeah, as we were, it installed pip, now install pexpect to care of expected user inputs, downloaded the virtual pack, extension pack. Oh, I think I made a mistake in the naming of this. Let me correct that after the playbook gets executed. Oh, sorry, it downloads the pack and now it installs the pack, now installs the PPA for PHP. And as you can see, the operation continues, and now it's going to install certain packages for PHP-VirtualBox. So let's just see where is it? Install packages. So yeah, we have a bit more to go. It's at this phase where it's going to install the dependencies, basically PHP 5. So by the way, this was actually a bug. I mean, I just, according to the guide, it just says PHP, but it didn't work for me. But when I installed PHP 5, it did work. So yeah, it took some time troubleshooting that. And now, as you see, checking if it already exists. It already exists. Download the, copy the config file, replace the username, password, and restart all services to complete the configuration. That's it, and we are done. Right, so now let me just go to the incognito window and refresh this page. Yes, so as you can see, the service is up, the username and password is admin, and hopefully I should be in, and I am in. So let me now just quickly configure a VM. So PHP-VirtualBox just provides a web GUI to VirtualBox. So since it is very useful in our case, because yeah, as you can see, so I got kicked out that time. As you can see, I just have a bash to my client, but and VirtualBox and is installed, but I cannot see that, right? So that's why I have PHP-VirtualBox. Now let me just provision a new VM. Let's call it new VM, and next, and next. Okay, I just need to get it up. And well, the new VM is up. So I haven't provided a base image for this, so you just need to download an ISO and provide the path for it, and it's going to start. So that is how you do. That's basically the crux of PHP-VirtualBox. And now let's go on to the next task, which is installing Vagrant on our client system and spinning up a VM using Vagrant, right? So I have actually created a different play for that, where it says download the latest version, install it, creates a directory for this new VM. Then it's going to it's going to first change into that directory and execute this command, which is Vagrant init, and I'm using the trusty32 base image, box image, and yeah, and also I'm going to update, since it is nested VMs and my system does not have that much CPU and RAM, I have to do certain optimizations. So these are the kind of optimizations which will effectively use the RAM and CPU, and it'll just essentially speed up VirtualBox. So what I'm doing is I'm adding on the Vagrant file in this particular directory which I've created before. I am going to insert this block after this particular line, inserted before this particular line. Okay, and let's see how that works. So let me just spawn YAML. It doesn't exist. By the way, I think it should be Vagrant do config. So let me just quickly look at a Vagrant file and just confirm that. So as you can see, Vagrant do config, so I want to insert it after this line, so I'm wrong here. It should be insert after, right? Let me yes. So okay, so sorry, oh yeah, by the way, my client VM is on 4 GB RAM, since this will have to support nested virtualization. Okay, so so where is, yes, so I'm going to insert this, and right, oh okay, sorry, it should be spawn.yml. I wrote, so I'll just remove this spawn.yml. Okay, so now let me execute this playbook. Let's keep it verbose and keep the inventory file and the spawn YAML. Okay, fingers crossed. Meta run handlers. Oh, sorry, oops, I pasted that by mistake. Let me just clear this. So it's now it's on this task where it's downloading the latest version. It's downloaded, it's installing the Vagrant Debian. So that is at this step where I use the Debian package. It's essentially going to do dpkg over here. Okay, it failed. Let me just fix this. Okay, so what happened is so I inserted that block of text at the wrong place. So it's a very good troubleshooting now that we can do. So let me just get out and delete this. So as you can see, this VM2 directory did get created. So let me just remove that directory and execute the playbook again with the correction. Oh, okay. And if you see, now it's not there. Now let me just make a correction. I was actually wrong over here. It should have been inside a block before. Okay, let me try this one more time. So I will remove that spawn YAML and I'll create a new spawn YAML with the corrected let me just insert it and save it and run that. Where is that? Ansible inventory spawn YAML, and yeah, let me just execute that again. So as you see, these are okay because they were already created, so it didn't do it again. So it's good we actually ran into this problem. So I can show idempotency over here. And yeah, now it's going to do a Vagrant up. This might take a bit, so I'm going to pause the video. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, some time has passed. It kind of had to download that image, as well as now had to download the image and bring it up on a nested kind of VM setup. So it did take some time, and I have installed it. Now if you can see, this is my client. Now if I do Vagrant SSH, I should be, oh I'm sorry, sudo user Vagrant SSH, and I should be inside my VM. So I'm here, a VM within a VM within a VM. So as you can see, I am in the Vagrant, in the VM provisioned from Vagrant. Thank you for watching. I hope this session was informational.